Alright, this is another video in the series where I just do first readings of a poem I've never seen before by a poet I don't know very well or like I've never heard of, and I just read it for the sheer joy of reading it. I don't try to read it like a teacher to teach anything. If I did, I would go back to it many times and stuff before I recorded it at that point. But I don't. I just approach it with whatever mistakes in my own reading happens and go with it from there. Sometimes they're decent, sometimes they're just garbage, and it's just fun for me. This first one, today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to read this one. It's Control V Journal. It's up at the top corner here, you can see it. ControlVJournal.com. It's a very cool little journal, honestly. I think it's fun just to play in this one. It's one of those kind of journals that is enjoyable just on its own. Like sometimes you get to a journal and you're like, well, how do I figure out if it's an online journal, what to read, how to have the experience? This one is very easy. You just flip through. So Fin Sorrel, I've never heard of Fin Sorrel, sorry. That just is what it is. Joseph and Me. Okay, so a concrete poem already. I always like to look at the form, but when I get started, I like to play with forms a lot myself. So this is kind of fun. We have a Joe at the top, some numbers, 12, 13. We'll see what happens. Joseph and Me, there's two people. Maybe that's ages. Maybe that's some relationship to the person. Maybe it's just random. I don't know. And this form, it's kind of, I don't know what it is. It's like a lemon. It's kind of oval-like. It's very much just on the left side. I'm assuming like this is a page of this experience of really condensed, almost like prose-like poem versus the rest of the page. And I say prose poem just because it's condensed. I haven't read it yet. But like all the rest of the page is this huge white space, like possibilities here. Joseph and Me. By the time I'd realized I was in the house, time had become a gaping wound, a net beneath us, looming until our little canoes had crossed it. Oh, yay. It's fun. The language is very easy. There's nothing complex here. By the time I'd realized I was in the house, time had become a gaping wound. So I don't know here whether I'm in memory or some kind of alternate experience here. A net beneath us. And time became a gaping wound. Who knows whether that means the time itself was had become a problem. A net beneath us, illuminating until our little canoes had crossed us. There's a net beneath where the little canoes had crossed. That's an interesting image. Some tend to believe that the opposite is true about time, so it's jumping back to the timeline. That is to say, they recognize an old cliche, which is time heals all wounds. But for me and Joseph and our brief encounter that night, why is it there and why is it TH? TH, try to see if it spells out anything. THB, JBE, I'm not sure it's going anywhere. Brief encounter that night. Time played only tricks. So they're like, with some brief encounter, I don't know if it's a memory or some kind of alternate reality or something. Here the time being thrown off is a little unusual. This could be like a kid's memory. You look back and time's all thrown off. Because time itself played differently when you were a kid. Or this could be something else. Time played only tricks, set little traps, sticks, tricks, sticks. Oh, I like the word play there. Beneath the water in that house. So there's water beneath the house. This feels unreal or feels like it's some kind of house on stilts or something. Out in the water, like a swamp house. We had both met after waking in our canoes. They both met after waking in their canoes. In our canoes. That's unusual. They wake into their canoe. Who sleeps in a canoe like this, even as a child? A tidal shift of unprecedented size and weight crushed the old 303 12th Street Marlborough Lane, and the house was flooded. Like the lane, the house was torn down and the house was flooded. Some said that the house always stayed flooded. There's this weird sense of like, are we in reality or not? With the space on the page and how it doesn't feel like a traditional poem, it feels like we're pulled out of our usual space. Some said the house had always stayed flooded. Neither of us knew what had happened. We just awoke in there. Then the line, we have this weird little line ending with the rest of it. This is the only little line that doesn't fit with the rest of the shape because it kind of plays with an empty space in the shape. So we had just awoken, or they just awakened on the canoe. And I float over this net. And this house is flooded. He hid behind the fog glass, nearly in tears from confusion. Yes, you could see whoever the Joseph is confused by this whole scene, and maybe this is the Joe from the first line. Half-formed Joseph, the Joe, from the first line up there, or the title. Shouting orders was how I came to understand him at first. Like you understand the person by shouting, and it was the shouting that roused me up from slumbering softness. So this person feels the softness of slumber. My goose puddle wherever I thought I lay. All of us together. So it's waking up from this goose cuddle puddle where I thought I lay. It's like a pillow. I don't know if this is a memory or is this a dream poem looking back at what's happened. It feels like it could be a dream with a canoe, waking up in the canoe and everything is flooded and it's a brief encounter at night. But it also feels just like a memory. Like maybe they mesh together here, the memory and the dream, or memory and an alternate reality here. Don't quite form a complete whole with this circle shape. They form their kind of one world. Not sure what to do with the 12, 13. It's like page numbers, but it could be like years of time or the years of going back into memory. I'm not sure. This is a fun one. I would actually like to see this one in a series to see how it bounces off the other poems. I think this would be very cool as a chapbook or as a part of a book. Just to play off the characters and the feeling, what happened. So, all right. Definitely think I need to check out more of Fin Sorrel's work.